Okay, welcome Timber classes to another tutorial on Onshape. In this tutorial I want to show you guys how you can fix up some mistakes that you might have in your sketch. Because you guys are working at home or by yourself at times, it's not always easy to get the teacher to fix up any sketch problems with you, so I want to show you a video now that might help to fix any problems yourself. So the issue really is when you're getting these red lines, and you can see I've got some on the screen already. When you get some of these red measurements, red lines on the screen, what it's really indicating is that you're telling the computer two pieces of information that both can't be true at the same time. Okay, so there are two pieces of conflicting information about one of the measurements or about one of the sizes or one of the points on Onshape. Okay, and the computer will highlight those two things for you with the red things, okay, which kind of makes it easy to figure out which ones might be wrong. So let's take this example here for a simple one to start with. You can clearly see on the side here I've got two measurements, one that says 80, one that says 100, and that line from this point to this point, or even from this point to this point, can't be both 100 and 80 millimeters long. So we need to actually just find whichever one we don't want. So I'm going to click on the 80 mil one, highlight that one by clicking it, and then I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard, and it's going to delete that line. And now it's only got one piece of information, so it is happy. Okay, so 100 millimeters long for this square, so it says that it's happy there. Okay, let's go over to this one, for example, where there's a slightly different one here. So what I've got here is I've actually drawn this triangle along with the circle. This point of the triangle is actually parallel with the origin point. So you can see that if I put my cursor on there, you can see if I put my cursor on this little parallel line symbol, you can see it highlights that one and this one, okay? So it's saying those two are parallel, okay? Now the issue is that I've also told the computer that this line is parallel with the origin, and with the measurements that I've put in here for 45, 95 and 80, that can't actually be possible. So this measurement here is saying that essentially from this point to this point is 0, and clearly it is not 0. Okay, from here to here is clearly not 0. So I think if I click on this one here and I delete it, you shouldn't see any issues now. So what I was trying to say is that this is 80 millimeters, 45 millimeters, 95 millimeters, and that can all make sense. But if as soon as I make it a right angle triangle, as soon as I bring this point up to that line there, parallel with that origin point and parallel with this line, then it makes that triangle a right angle triangle. And if we know our a squared plus b squared equals c squared, our Pythagoras theorem, then 45 squared plus 80 squared does not equal the square root of 95, okay? So it was rather 95 squared, okay? So that was the issue there. As soon as I said that that point was in line with this point, then it was a problem, okay? So as soon as I deleted that information, all these things can be fine. Let's say though you wanted to have that as a right angle triangle. Let's say you did want it a right angle triangle. Let's just Control Z. Okay, so I am saying that this is a right angle triangle, but I want the height of the triangle to be 80 and the width of the triangle to be 45, but I don't really care about the hypotenuse length. Then I can just click on the hypotenuse length and I can delete that measurement, and you'll see it snaps that point up, making this 0 true. So this 0 can be true. It can be 0 millimeters from here to the line. Okay, so it's sitting on the line. And now it's a right angle triangle. All these lines are saying, yep, these are right angles right here, and this one's parallel. But now the hypotenuse is allowed to stretch. Let's see how long the hypotenuse is. If I measure from here to here. Okay, so the hypotenuse wanted to be 91.7878 millimeters. And I was telling it was 95, and that was the issue. Okay, so I'm just going to hit escape there. I'm not going to redefine that size. I'm just going to leave it as it is. 91.7878, and you can tell when I've told it what size it is, it should be black. When I've allowed the program to just figure out what size it is, it'll be grey. Okay, so that's how you would change those two things there. Now let's do one more. Let's do one more here. let's say I've got this circle, okay, and I've got a square. I'm going to come down from this point, dotted line, and I'm going to draw out a square that's going to be that size. But I want this square, whoops, let's just try that again. I'm going to come down from this line, okay, from this line here, and I want that to snap onto there and snap onto there, and I want to make that size. Let's make it 20, be 50. Okay, so I've got a couple of mistakes here. Okay, so firstly, I've told it that both sides are actually parallel with this line. Okay, so I need to go in and I need to delete some of these pieces here. The way I drew the rectangle, it was actually more like a line than a rectangle. So I need to delete some of these things here so that 20 millimeters can be true. So if I hit escape now, so I'm off my rectangle tool, I'm not on that tool anymore, just on my regular mouse, and I need to delete one of these measurements here. Okay, so let's try with this one. Let's try with this one. Now, at this stage as well, you can really just click on different parts of the measurement and delete them and see what happens to your thing. And if it doesn't go the way you want it to, then you can just Control Z and go, okay, no, it wasn't that one I wanted. Let's try deleting this one. Okay, that one didn't seem to fix it. Let's try deleting this one. Okay, and so when you essentially get to a point now where you're happy with the size, where you're happy with your drawing, that's when you won't see any more red lines. So you can just clicking those points sometimes at random and deleting them and seeing what happens is helpful. Sometimes you can find the actual points. The points here are actually listed. So this one, this point here is the coincide one, concentric, parallel, tangent. So there'd be a line with the circle that are tangent there. Vertical, horizontal, perpendicular. All those lines, they actually mean different things here, but often we don't really need to worry about what they are. You can really just click on them at random and delete some of the sizes. If you end up deleting something that you don't need, just redraw it. So for example here, I got 50 millimeters and 20 millimeters and I didn't want that. And then maybe I wanted to move this line so it is actually on that little dot there. And then I want to find out how long it is. Well, it should be exactly 40 because the diameter of this is 80, so half the diameter would be 40. Okay, for the radius. So you'll notice you can zoom in. If I zoom in right now, you can see those two lines that I clicked were not quite on the right thing there, but I can actually drag that and get it right on the line there. Okay, and now you can see it should be exactly 40, but it's not quite. It's very close. I'd say that line wasn't exactly on the line beforehand as well. Okay, so you're really just trying to find those red marks and trying to delete the ones you don't need. Like I said, sometimes it's a bit at random trying to find ones that you don't want, but that's okay. If it ends up being that you delete one of them and your sketch goes way out of proportion or doesn't do what you want it to do, just go Control Z. Okay, Control Z undoes everything. Okay, you can even I can hit Control Z 20 times and you can see it's starting to undo all the stuff that I've just done now. I'm going back to the start. Okay, so Control Z will fix up all those problems. Alright, hopefully that was helpful now for removing red lines and removing conflicting information. Hopefully you guys are doing really well with your drawings at the moment. I look forward to seeing the check-in at the end of the week with your photos that you've been posting up, and just keep remembering to keep checking Classroom, keep checking activities that you need to do. Alright, that's all from me. See you later.